Hello young guys, good morning. Today we will talk about genetics. Genetics is the study of heredity and variation. What is heredity? Transmission of characters from parents to offsprings of the same species. And variation, some difference in the characters of different individuals of same species. How it happens? It was discovered by Gregor Johann Mendel in 1865. He was a monk in the monastery of Brunn. At the time it was in Austria. Later on that village was transferred into Czechoslovakia and then into Czech Republic. For 8 years, Mendel performed certain experiments with garden pea Pisum sativum in his church garden and reached on certain conclusions. Then he wrote a paper, Experiments in Plant Hybridization, which was published in Proceedings of the Royal Society of London in 1866. But at that time, all over the world, persons were amused with Darwin's theory of natural selection. So nobody took a cognizance of Mendel's work, although it was a very good work. He died in 1886. After 32 years after the work of Mendel, in 1902, 3 different scientists of 3 different countries, De Vries, Schermark and Correns, performed some similar experiments and they got similar results. Then, by the way, they read the article written by Mendel and all world became aware of the Mendel's contribution. In fact, Mendel had explained his experiments. The title of paper was Experiments in Plant Hybridization, but he had not given any rule. The 3 rules were given by Correns later on. And interesting thing was that Mendel luckily chose the green plant Pisum sativum. 34 varieties of seeds were available at that time in the market, of which he considered 14 varieties. And you cannot learn Mendelism. You will have to think in that context, as Mendel did not have any teacher. No teacher had told Mendel that, well, write this laws of inheritance. His complete work is based on logic. And if you enjoy that logic, only then you will enjoy it. Otherwise, if you will try to remember it, learn it, then it will become difficult. So, in the 14 varieties of pea plant which he performed experiments for 8 years, every character had 2 variables which are called traits. For example, first of all, length of pea plant. Length of pea plant is a character. It had 2 variables. Some pea plants were only 1 feet tall and some pea plants were 1 meter tall. So the 1 meter tall plants were called tall and 1 feet tall plants were called dwarf. In pea plant, the flower is in such a shape that normally self-pollination takes place. But Mendel performed experiments on cross-pollination. He, in very early stage of a flower, he just removed the pollen of one flower and covered it with a covering, then took the pollen grain of another flower, brushed it on the stigma of this and then covered. So this way he also performed some cross-pollination experiments. So first of all, he used self-pollination, and in the two traits of tall length. Dwarf plants, they were self-pollinated, they gave dwarf. Again they were self-pollinated, they gave dwarf individuals. Similarly, tall plants after self-pollination gave tall individuals. Again after self-pollination they gave tall individual. This was simple. But sometimes when a cross self-pollination was done in a tall individual, then some tall individuals were also obtained and some dwarf individuals were also obtained. What does it mean? It means there is something responsible for making tallness and something for making dwarfness in this type of tall individuals. And this was the Mendel's first important result. He said that all individuals, whether animals and plants, they have two something for controlling one character. What is that something? He did not know. He just termed them something as factor, that each individual plant or animal for controlling every body character has one pair of factor, in which one factor is obtained from paternal parent and one factor is obtained from maternal parent. Now let us see what were their experiments, what were the results, and what conclusion he derived. So in the first experiment, Mendel performed cross-pollination in between two pea plants, one which were tall and other which were dwarf. In the next generation, which is called first filial generation or F1 generation, all plants were tall. Then all these plants of F1 generation, they were self-pollinated. And surprisingly, in F2 generation, we obtained 787 tall and 277 dwarf. If we consider immediate parents are all tall, but here 25% plants are dwarf. How this dwarf plant was obtained? That was a crucial point. And here lies the talent, intelligence of Gregor John Mendel. He said that the tall individual was having two factors for tallness, dwarf individual was having two factors for dwarfness. It means individuals of F1 generation, which were all tall, they were having factors for both tallness and dwarfness, right? Now they were self-pollinated. And here we obtained three individuals tall and one individual dwarf. A 3:1 ratio was obtained. How to explain it? You can imagine that there are two neighbors. One is Mr. Sharma and Mrs. Sharma, and other is Mr. Verma and Mrs. Verma, right? Then when both Mrs. Verma and Mrs. Sharma will come together, how can you explain it? This is a puzzle. Mendel said that there is no way to explain it. Only way is that if we consider that the two factors separate from each other. Mr. Sharma goes to his office, Mrs. Sharma remains at the residence, and similarly Mr. Verma also goes to office, Mrs. Verma remains at the residence. Then there are four possibilities. If Mr. Sharma and Mr. Verma both are working in the same office, in the lunch time they can sit together and drink a cup of tea or coffee, right? Another possibility is that Mr. Sharma and Mrs. Verma are working in the same office. Then at the time of lunch, they can sit together and take a cup of tea or coffee. And similarly, Mr. Verma and Mrs. Sharma both are working in the same office. Then they can sit together. So this occurrence of 3:1 ratio, which is called phenotypic ratio. Phenotypic ratio is external appearance. So here phenotypic ratio is 3 tall into 1 dwarf. And if we talk about the arrangement of the factors, then here 1 is capital T, 2 are capital T, small t, and then 1 is small t, small t. So it is called genotypic ratio, right? So for explaining this result, occurrence of 3:1 ratio in F2 generation, Mendel said that it is possible only if the two factors separate from each other during gamete formation. So it is called the law of separation or law of segregation. Some of the workers discussed as first law, law of dominance, and second law, law of segregation. But some other writers write it, law of dominance is a part of first law, the law of segregation. Here you see, here in individuals of F1 generation, we have factors for both tallness and dwarfness together. But only the factor for tallness shows its appearance. The factor for dwarfness fails to show its expression. So it is called law of dominance. The character which shows its appearance is called dominant character, designated by a capital letter, and the other one which fails to express it is called recessive character. It is expressed by a small letter. Other way, we can also use capital D small d. Capital T small t or capital D small d. Some of the workers take the first letter of the recessive character, so it is called, it can be also written as capital D small d. So law of dominance says, first law, that when factors for both contrasting characters are present together, only one shows its expression and it is called dominant character. The other one which fails to show its expression is called recessive character. Law of segregation, during gamete formation, the two factors separate from each other. Mind it, some of the books and some of the teachers describe law of segregation that when a self-pollination is made between individuals of F1 generation, a 3:1 ratio is obtained in F2 generation. This is law of segregation. No, this is not law of segregation. This was the occurrence after the experiment that 3:1 ratio was obtained. It was a puzzle. Mendel explained it on the basis that it can be explained. Occurrence of recessive individual in 25% individuals can only be explained if we consider that during gamete formation the two factors separate from each other, right? So it is law of segregation. Now let us come on third law, the law of independent assortment. Here we are considering only one set of characters together. It is called monohybrid cross. After that, Mendel studied two set of characters together. That was called dihybrid cross. Let us see. So what happened? In pea plant, tallness is dominant over dwarfness, and yellow cotyledon is dominant on green cotyledon, right? So when a pea plant was taken having tall and green cotyledon, and it was cross-pollinated with a dwarf and yellow cotyledon bearing pea plant, then in F1 generation all pea plants were tall with yellow cotyledons, because yellow cotyledon is dominant on green cotyledon. Now, when a self-pollination was made, in F2 generation, 4 types of individuals were obtained. The phenotypic ratio was 9-3-3-1. 9 tall yellow, 3 tall green, 3 dwarf yellow, and 1 dwarf green. But how to explain it, the occurrence of 4 types of phenotypes in this ratio 9-3-3-1? Mendel tried to explain it by a branching method. But nowadays, it is explained by a Punnett's checkerboard method. So, we will talk about Punnett's checkerboard method. Let us see how it can be explained. So, an individual having tall and green cotyledon were having capital T, small y. Dwarf and yellow cotyledons were having small t, capital Y. Mind it, I have seen in law of segregation that during gamete formation, the 2 factors separate from each other. So here what will happen? The gametes will contain only one of the factor of the pair. So it will contain capital T and small y. Here also the gamete will contain small t, one small t and one capital Y. So in every checkerboard you have to make first of all the gamete and then make the hybrid, right? So in F1 all individuals were having capital T, small t, capital Y, small y. They were tall and yellow because capital T for tallness was dominant on small t for dwarfness. Capital Y for yellow was dominant on small y for green. Now, when a self-cross was made of these individuals of F1 generation, first of all, they will form 4 types of gametes. Capital T, capital Y, capital T, small y, small t, small y, and small t, small y. You can imagine it by cards of playing cards, that there is one king and queen, another king and queen. Out of 4 cards, you have to select only 2. So what are the possibilities? These are 4 possibilities. This will also make 4 type of gametes. This will also 4 type of gametes. So in individuals of F1 generation, we have 4 types of gametes. Capital T, capital Y, capital T, small y, small t, capital Y, small t, small y. Here also we have 4 types of gametes. So how many combinations will be formed? 4 into 4, 16. You have not to remember it. You have simply, in arithmetical calculation style, you have to write it in all these 4. This one is all in the 4, this one in all the 4, this one in all the 4. Similarly, this one in all the 4, this one in all the 4, this one in all the 4. First of all, you have to write capital letter, then a small letter, right? So let us see how it is done. Capital T, capital Y, capital T, capital Y, capital T, capital Y, capital T, capital Y, right? Similarly, here also, capital T, small y, capital T, small y, capital T, small y, capital T, small y, right? Same way, here also, small t, small t, small t, small t, then capital Y, capital Y, capital Y, then capital Y. Here also, small t, small t, small t, small t, then small y, small y, small y, small y, right? And in the same way, you have to write this one in all the four. So here it will be capital T, capital Y, here also capital T, capital T, capital T, capital T, small y, then here also small t, small t, small t, small t, capital Y, capital Y, capital Y, capital Y. Then here small t, small t, small t, small t, small y, small y, small y, small y. Now first of all we will make its genotypic ratio and then phenotypic ratio. And here there is a fun. You might have seen some of young girl child play with a small pebbles which is called ikhat dukhat. 1 2 1 1 2 1. And in NCC parade also this same thing is done. 1 2 1 1 2 1. The same thing is applied here. So 1 2 1 2 4 2 1 2 1. We can make it from different signs. So one is capital T, capital T, capital Y, capital Y, right? Then these two capital T, capital T, capital Y, small y. Then this one, it is a single. Capital T, small y, small y. Then these two are similar. Capital T, small t, capital Y, small y. Here these two, capital T, small t, capital Y, they are two. After that, capital T, small t, capital Y, small y, they are capital T, small t, capital Y, small y. These are four. Then these two, capital T, small t, small y, two. Then small t, capital Y, one. Then small t, capital Y, small y, these are two. And then this one, small t, small y, one. So the genotypic ratio is 1 to 1 2:4:1:1. Now, from this genotypic ratio, we have to find out the phenotypic ratio. So, tall and yellow. This one will be tall and yellow. This one will also be tall and yellow. Then this one, then this one. Here also we have both capital T, capital Y. Here also we have capital T, capital Y. Here also we have capital T, capital Y. And here also at least one capital T, one capital Y. So these 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, and 5, and then this 4. This will be 9. Then tall, green. Which individual will be tall and green? This one. The small y indicate for green cotyledon. And then these two. 1, 2, 3. So then this one, this one, this one. This will be dwarf and yellow. And then this one will be dwarf, green. So here, what is the important point? If we consider about ratio between tall and dwarf, how many individuals are tall? 9, 3, 12. And how many individuals are dwarf? 3, 1. So the ratio between tall and dwarf, 12 into 4 is equal to same 3:1. If we consider ratio between yellow and green, yellow 9, 3, 12, and then green 3 plus 1, 4. Here also it comes same 3:1. It means if we consider two set of characters together, again we will get the same ratio of 3:1 phenotypic ratio. They are not influenced by the presence of each other. This is called third law, the law of independent assortment. In dihybrid cross, when we consider two or more than two set of characters together, they are not influenced by the presence of each other. They show their own behavior. It is called law of independent behavior or law of independent assortment. Thank you very much.